All right, listen up, Spuds. This is Zap Brannigan, master of time, space, and everything else in between. And, oh yeah, winner of this year's Modesty Award. You're listening to You Suck. What's the difference with Al and Tom? Your one stop for this sort of thing.
Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to USUK. What's the difference? The show that takes a look at each other's cultures and they say, hey, what's the difference? Yeah, building bridges over the Atlantic is what we like to do because during my extensive podcast career, I've made many friends and we've had conversations that have just hit a brick wall and kind of, what did you mean by that? It happens all too frequently, right, Andy?
100%. I remember the first time you called me a numpty. I thought that was a tasty beverage.
It's true. We see these silly things over in the UK. We've got the best swear words and silly words for things. Andy is joining me today instead of Tom Bruno. Tom is being selfish and spending time with the family on vacation. How dare he? You know. So Andy Imhof from Washington State is joining us today. Thank you, Andy, for joining us.
Oregon State, but thank you very much, Alex. I appreciate it.
See, there we go again.
But you got to let Tom out of the closet once in a while. You can't just keep him locked up in there. He already thinks he's Harry Potter. So like you gotta be able to move him around a little bit. I know. Slade, let me just say right off the bat, I am a huge barbecue fan, and the only proper style is Texas barbecue, baby.
You are right about that. You know, a solid second is definitely goes to Tennessee, but I mean, I'm a huge fan of Memphis, Tennessee barbecue as well. But I do have to agree with you when it comes to it. Texas does it better.
My man.
So yes, let's introduce Slade. Actually, who's like, oh, Slade, who's this guy Slade that we're talking about barbecue with? Very promising young actor who's starring in Luke Wilson's new movie 12 Mighty Orphans, and that's Slade Monroe. Thank you very much, Slade, for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. This is a unique experience for me.
I'm very chuffed that you're here. Chuffed means happy, by the way, in the UK. Very happy to have you here. Now, we like to speak to people on either side of the movie making world. We like to speak to creators, voice actors. You heard Billy West at the beginning there, and of course, up and coming, promising new actors like yourself. And it's my wife actually that brought you into the fold here today. So thank you, wife Carolina Whiteley. You're amazing.
Thank you,
and you are. She's amazing. She's awesome. And you're just started out in your career. I think it's very interesting when we kind of grab you guys when everything's just a little bit really exciting and new, and I imagine intense as well for you, right?
It's everything. I mean, it's happy. It's unique. It is. It's a lot. It is not enough. It is a new embrace to the world for me, and Yes, this is my first ever acting gig. I've never done anything professionally prior to this. The last thing that I had done was a high school play about a year prior. So it was a complete flip of attitude and mindset that I had to get into when starting this project.
Huge escalation in responsibilities, right? I mean, is it like that you know we see in the movies and things like that? It's like, so it goes from high school, like, hey guys, we're doing this amazing play. This is fantastic. We're all really happy to be here. To where the fuck is Slade? Why is he not in this? Where's his? Like, is it like that intense straight away? Bam! Or did it break you in gently?
It was definitely. I would say it's probably a gentle process. Now, granted, I don't have any other way of viewing it.
Yeah.
Our set team, our crew, and our cast were really fantastic. I had no problems with anybody. I don't think I gave any problems to them. I mean, I sure hope not. If I did, that was certainly not the intention. But I showed up to day one, and I mean, I kind of felt like I'm a new guy on the block, but welcomed all the same. And so I had a blast with these people. My director, Ty Roberts, he kind of took me under his wing. And I never felt like I couldn't come up to him with an idea or a suggestion or a question.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when did you decide to go down the acting road? I'm a little curious because normally people your age and even my age, they jump on YouTube and they think this is how I'm going to make my big break. And as far as I can tell, you're a little bit limited on like the social media full, improv videos or whatever.
Yeah, I'm not super active in, the internet sphere, and especially as I used to be. I have certainly separated myself to some extent, but my start kind of came. The seed was planted when I was really young. When I was a kid, I went and watched the play Young Frankenstein, and prior to that, I had watched the movie Young Frankenstein, the Gene Wilder flick from the 1960s or 70s or so. And that was kind of like the moment that I tied two and two together, that actors were actual people. They weren't just figments on screens. They were people in our living world that are, filling shoes. And so that was kind of when, like I said, the seed was planted. Skip ahead 15 years, I decided to pursue this simply because it was just a passion of mine. It was, life makes a whole lot of sense when I'm on set, when I'm in a character, and it's the thing that I love to do. And so the flip of the switch was when I was about 18 or so. And that's when I decided, I don't see myself doing anything, and I would much rather give it a shot and with the potential of failing down the road than going the rest of my life doing something that I don't enjoy and asking what if.
Amazing. I love that, because you have that passion and that drive from a very young age. I always think, like, because I picked up, me and Andy have become very good at this podcast and stuff. We've done good things with it, right? But if I'd have done this when I was your age, if I'd have gone, I could do stuff with my voice, I can go on the radio and stuff, I'd probably be rich right now. But I'm not. I'm a guy doing a podcast in his bedroom. But hey, I love what I do. What I did want to ask you was, is me and Andy are branching into sort of like the voice acting thing. You've done like books and stuff, Andy, right? You've done audiobooks. The way the way I learned that I can do accents and voices and things like this is I walk around the house and I just talk to myself in different accents. And my wife thinks I'm insane. She's actually, "Are you okay? Do we need to get someone out to come and speak to us?" And then next thing I know, I work it. I do a bit of acting, and my gaffer's kind of like, "Yo, can you do an Irish accent for like 3 hours?" And I'm like, "Sure thing." But I know that because I've been wandering around the house like an idiot, like, "Hey, how's it going? My name's Alex. I'm from Ireland. I'm from Cork. Haha, he. You all right?" When it comes to finding characters and things that you're capable of, is there a lot of that self sort of role playing with yourself, sort of just being loose?
Absolutely. I do feel like I put myself into the role, especially in this scenario. When I'm on stage, it's completely different. I'm big, I'm boisterous and loud. But a lot of that I had to reel in for being on set when the camera's, right in front of you. And so being my first character, my first ever professional work, I like to visualize it as kind of a Venn diagram of sorts. On one hand is me, and on the other hand is the character. In this case, it's the role of Weedy, and I try and kind of pinpoint.
I got a picture of Weedy.
There we go. Yeah,
hey,
that was actually photographed by my mother.
Hey,
yes, she was an extra on set, so
nice.
Trying to give back a little. But the Venn diagram, I try and kind of pinpoint where on it I should put myself, what percentage of myself should be it, rather than what percentage of the character should be in it. And so, and I do that too. I walk around the house just talking to myself. If there's ever a camera in view just on my day-to-day, I'd probably look crazy, but I completely understand.
There's a story that Luke Wilson used to do the same thing after his brother Owen got famous, and he was like, well, maybe I'll try this thing too. He used to just walk around his house, or so I'm told, just looking into mirrors going, wow.
I said, right, I listened to his Armchair Expert interview with Dax Shepard a few weeks ago. Luke. I've written Luke and Owen Wilson's name down because I don't want to I get mixed up all the time, right? And yeah, he does a great impression. What was it like walking on set with the great and powerful Luke Wilson? Like, it's like, this is your first big gig, right? It's not just that. There's Martin Sheen as well, right? So there's these two massive actors, and you're like, oh my god, like. Did you go home and have a bit of a wig out, or is it a case of this is my moment to shine? Got to keep it in.
I was certainly nerding out a bit, to be completely honest. Yeah. Being the cinematic lover that I am, I grew up watching those two, so it was a bit surreal that I was working with them and they're right in front of me. Luke, it was interesting because I got to see so many different perspectives and acting approaches, because this is a movie of several different age groups. We have the orphans, such as myself, who at the time of shooting, I was 19. We had several people who were 18. I mean, the age range was 18 to 25 for the orphans. And then we had, Luke, who is, he's not old, but he's older than we are. He's had way more experience than we have. Yeah. And then there was Martin, who, he is a master of his craft. To see him at work was a unique experience that could never be taught in a classroom. It's something that you'd have to visualize or be there in the moment to truly take in and understand. So to work with those two was the best master class that I could have. And to kind of know how to navigate the industry as just good, decent people that they were. Martin is a wonderful guy, and we all just loved him. Luke, he's a wonderful guy too. So it was really interesting to see these people who have all the reason in the world to show arrogance, but had none at all.
Nice. And obviously, this film's based on a book, right? It's based on real events. Yes. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, is it a case of, okay, I've got research to do, I've got books to read, I need to make sure that I've got this nailed down? Of course, that's right. You're a professional, right? What was that like for you?
We did a lot of research for it. I read the book prior to the shooting. I finished the book probably about a week into shooting and started it about a week before, because I didn't really have a whole lot of time to turn things around and figure it out. And so I did use a lot of my prior experiences from my own football days. I played football from the third grade onto my freshman year in high school. And so, I took from a lot of resources, what I already knew, and then I actively looked for what I didn't know. And so the book was certainly a roadmap for me, for sure. And there was definitely enough in the book about Weedy to show me his emotional highs and lows.
Amazing. And historical facts as well. I'm just learning about NFL now and American football, right? It's my second and a half. This will be my third season actually watching NFL when it starts in September. Yeah. Historically, everything's got to be perfect, right? When it comes to, like, we'll bring this picture up again. The uniforms, the helmets, the boots. Look at those boots. They don't even look like they got studs or anything. Like, what was that all like to wear? All this old gear.
Getting into the gear. So much of the costume does make the character too. It feels different. I don't really know how to explain it, but when I get into a costume, I feel different. I feel more in the mindset of it. And but in this case, I got to compare modern football tech to what they used then, because, like I said, I played football before, and the stuff was pretty comfortable. Like modern football gear is relatively comfortable, but that stuff is not. It is far from it. That is actually a cotton shirt, a cotton jersey. We had leather pads that wrapped right under the armpits, and we'd always have like an undergarment to make sure that those straps didn't rub you raw. And the helmets, I don't even know why you'd even have those, or
Look at
why.
For the audio listeners, we should probably put air quotes around helmet and pads, because those old pads and helmets, I don't even know. Like,
it's a bit of
do anything.
It's a stretch. It's a stretch for the term protection, right?
It's like foam with like leather over the top of it, guys. It looks like the helmets that air pilots used to wear, but with less protection. And yet these guys are running into each other. It's crazy. By the way, I won't bring up.
I got to ask you this question, you guys. Honestly, truly, I mean, looking back on the history of football, how many footballers do you think actually did turn their brains into Orange Julius and they just didn't realize it? Like, they thought, oh, early onset dementia, poor guy, he started playing football in the 30s and now he's in his 50s or whatever. You know what I'm talking about?
I imagine a lot. It probably still happens today, and they wear like proper helmets, like it's
you can only do so much. Even modern helmets aren't enough to protect the brain. So you're talking 30 years ago. I would say all of them.
And they say that like pads and helmets have gotten so good now that we're actually hitting each other so hard that it's doing damage and you don't realize it. Whereas back then, and you know what, taking a note from the UK, Alex, stuff like rugby, no pads. And so guys aren't going to go 100%. They're not going to go full speed into each other because they know that we're both going to get really injured.
Yeah, there's a difference between sports players back then. I mean, like when you look at, okay, so I have this issue with American football, Slade. It's been an ongoing thing. This is what's the difference, right? It's all about our different cultures. I love the NFL. I've completely abandoned British football, or soccer as you call it, because I think it's just a game for prima donnas diving around. Oh my god, overpaid, right? Idiots, right? So I've kind of stepped away, but I'm still refusing it to call it football. I call it American hand egg, because I think America were kind of like, yeah, we got this different sport. It's used with a ball that's shaped like an egg, and we're going to use our hands to carry it, but we're going to call it football because we're unoriginal. So it's American hand egg. But for today's purposes, we're being professionals. We're talking about a film about American football. Can we briefly tell the listeners about the kind of the plot? Don't want to spoil it, obviously. What is this film about, Slade?
So the film is it's an underdog story. Ultimately, it's a true to life underdog story that is based in the 1930s during the Great Depression. And at this time, orphans were kind of considered second-class citizens. And so the story is about a man named Rusty Russell who gets hired on to a place called the Masonic Home. It's an orphanage, essentially. And so, at the time, if you were an orphan, during the Great Depression, those are two big whammies. And so essentially what this movie is about is Rusty Russell taking these kids, these broken characters, and building them back up and being their father figure and giving these kids a purpose, a sense of self-confidence and self-worth.
Nice.
Like that.
I saw the trailer. I was like, I'm living in this first world drama kind of, oh my God, I can't watch it right now. I looked for it on Amazon, on Netflix, on Disney. I looked everywhere for it. I couldn't watch it now. So I had to make do with the trailer. And I watched the trailer, and I think Andy's laughing at me. I know, man. It's just it's a weird world we live in right now. I mean, like Scarlett Johansson's suing Disney because they released it on demand, and Disney's kind of like, well, what did you want us to do? Like, So yeah, we have to wait until I think it's the 31st of August in the UK. I believe it's released.
The 1st of August.
I think that's right in the UK, possibly. I don't know.
Slade, I apologize. I was going to watch the trailer, but instead I watched something called Chess Game Cheerleaders. I didn't realize until the end that that was not the trailer for your movie, but it also was starring you, right?
Chess Game Cheerleaders? Is that in reference to the SNL skit? Wait, how'd you find that?
It is one of your reels on your website, my friend.
Oh my goodness. I completely forgot of it. Oh wow. That that just brought back flashbacks. I completely forgot about that. Yeah, I think I was 17 or 18 in that. That was kind of like when I started to get the ball rolling with acting. So
you had me laughing. It was good.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I had a blast with that. My partner, I believe his name is Eric. I haven't seen him since then. And yeah, we did a lot of scenes together for about a week. And that was the one that I landed on. That was like, I enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun with this. So I want to show that I had fun with it.
That's funny, man. That's funny. Can I ask, I mean, is there anything that you're thinking about doing with a YouTube channel, highlighting yourself, highlighting your range? Or, I mean, are we just kind of on a
TikTok.
rocket ship to the moon now?
On a rocket ship to the moon? I'm not quite sure what you mean by that.
Well, I mean, you know, it's ironic. This is your first film, and it's also Luke Wilson's last film. But no, I joke.
I was like, what? I didn't hear that.
I was going to say, Andy, did you know something we don't know? Andy with the Hollywood inside gossip, like.
Well, what I mean by that is, what kind of doors are you starting to see open now that this film is right around the corner and it's got some big names in it and it's got your name in it?
Well, certainly the work is not over. I am still hungry, and the doors have started to open a little bit more, and it's nothing like legit or down packed, but I have heard some things that have been promising. That being said, you never know in this industry. So really my goal at the moment is just to not get a big head about it, because like I said before, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just going to work for it. And yeah, I've been in contact with some really great people who worked on this film, some really genuine people. And I'm going to just see where the ball rolls.
Nice.
It just goes to show that everybody wants to be the quarterback, right? Everybody wants to be, because when you're a quarterback, whether in real life or in the movie, everybody's like, "Oh, who's that quarterback?" You know, they just know that position straight away. I know it's definitely a scary time for you. I mean, like, I can't speak for you. I got a couple of friends that have just started off in the industry. One of them is my good friend Alexander Westwood. He's got a few parts in Sex Education on Netflix and a couple of bits. And I work with him. I work at a closed prison, and it's an immersive acting venue. It's an attraction, and I'd see him every week. And he'd be like, "Oh my God, he has to be so careful. He had to be so careful, like contracts, things he'd sign up for, just in case they were a bit bogus. I know there are leeches out there that just try and take money off people, like whether it's an acting academy or whether it's a part that they say, oh, you need to invest in, you know, these silly things. It's a very scary time for you. It must be. What kind of guidance are you seeking to make sure you don't make the bad decisions?
Honestly, one of the greatest things that I've gotten from 12 Mighty Orphans is our mentors. I have been in contact, like I said, with several of the investors, with several of the producers, and they have been guiding me a lot. I've learned more in the last year than I have in the last 20 in regards to this industry, and as well as that, I have a wonderful acting coach who was basically the inspiration for me to continue this as a career and not just a hobby. And I do have a fantastic agent who has my back. So when it comes to making sure that I'm not in the wrong place at the wrong time or signing the wrong thing, I have full confidence. And also in myself, I certainly have confidence in myself to spot something. And my dad, who's also, his life is contracts. He's a businessman, an entrepreneur, and so I've just been kind of a sponge for information.
Nice.
Regarding that.
That's really good. That's what you need, though, isn't it? Is that bit of experience behind you? Because I know, Andy knows me very well, all right? And I'm putting things together and I'm kind of like, it's fine, I know what I'm doing. And then 2 weeks later down the line, I'm like, you know that thing I said I was doing really well with? Well, I kind of fucked up a little bit. I'm really sorry. Because I'm too headstrong. I'm kind of like, bam, sometimes you just need that kind of stern kind of, no, son, you don't do that.
Yeah.
We're not going to speak to him, because I think I know what I'm doing, It's just it's a strange world we live in.
Well, they said that about
Trial by Fire is also a beautiful teacher. I mean, ultimately, it's the fire in the end that gets you. Just make sure it's not something too terrible that puts you in that situation.
Mm-hmm. They say about some of the most successful people that the most successful people will make those snap decisions. They will make a decision one way or another instantly, but they also surround themselves with people that are capable and willing of saying, no, that's not a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's the so like if obviously like when you ask a young actor what do you want from this, they'll be like, I want to be Tom Cruise, I want to be this, I want to be that, I want to be the other. Right, but you got to look at things like on a level playing field, right? So what would you like to do now that people know who you are? You're the quarterback in this new movie, like Luke Wilson's first movie for a while, the big movie for a while. Like if anything was offered to you now, what would you like to do?
Well, from the business side, from the side that's usually not seen by the public, I am in search of a manager. That's my number one goal at the moment. But from a personal standpoint, from what I want from the industry as seen by the audience, truthfully, is just to be a better actor, to understand more about filmmaking, and each day is just another day for me to try and get a little bit better, because I'm 21. I do have a lot of time. I'm if average age is 80, still got another 60 going on. So if I just get better every day, then eventually I'm going to be at a very satisfying spot. That is my goal day to day.
Well, hopefully we'll get you topping Anthony Hopkins and further.
I could only hope, and I am striving for that. Yes.
When it comes to the movie release, were there lots of like, did you have to sign? Was it DNA? What's it called? Non-disclosure, NDA, non-disclosure. Did you have to sign any of that sort of stuff? Did they say to you like, you can't go on podcasts and talk about this, and this, and if you say anything about the plot, we will shoot you on site? Like, was there anything that?
Yeah, I had yeah. There's definitely some things that I had to sign in regards to an NDA. It was a bit more lenient because this is an independent film. They want the word out. I couldn't really tell them tell anyone major plot points. I mean, not that I would. And so it was a bit lax, and I got a couple slaps on the wrist every now and then from posting a photo that I shouldn't have or whatever. But yeah, nothing that would bring me to a lawsuit. So
thank God. Otherwise we lost Brandy, by the way, your publicist. She was in the background, but she's welcome to join back if she needs to. Maybe she lost signal or something. When you were on set with these absolutely monolithic actors, because Martin Sheen is was there ever any sort of alone time, downtime where you could kind of ask him for a bit of advice, or did they kind of lean into you and go, watch this kid, sort of thing?
No, there was never a situation of, oh, look at how good look at my mastery. No, there was downtime for sure. Actually, the first day that I met Martin was really funny, because I didn't know that he was cast on the project until he was literally sitting right across from me at lunch. I mean, I was sitting amongst a couple other people, and Martin walks in the room and he sits down across from me, and I recognized him, and I did know who he was, but I couldn't quite grasp that he was actually sitting there. So embarrassingly, I did have to look him up just to make sure that my eyes were not deceiving me. And when I finally came to the realization that yes, this is in fact Martin Sheen across from me, he introduces me to his son Emilio. I'm like, whoa, what is today?
Whoa.
What is today? What is happening right now? So
you got introduced to Emilio Estevez.
I did. Yeah, he's a really nice guy. Yeah,
dude, that's so funny. I had a joke lined up where I was going to say, imagine walking up to Martin Sheen and saying, "Hello, Mr. Sheen, nice to meet you," and he's like, "I'm Emilio Estevez." But can't make that mistake now.
I remember I do another podcast called the Shrewsbury Biscuit Podcast. Have you heard of it? I'm joking. I know you won't have. And one of the first big events that we did was a thing called Comics Salopia, run by my friend Shane Chepsey. And it was a comic book event, but it was purely comic books, the artists, the the illustrators. And I remember I went to the opening party and he was like, yeah, we've got Chip Kid coming. And with a quick Google, you find out that Chip Kidd is one of the most fantastic graphic designers on the planet. He designed the Jurassic Park logo. He's that big, right? He's huge. And I'm stood in this room, all these people drinking martinis and having beers, all mingling and stuff. I'm like, which one is Chip Kidd? Because it was so daunting. I was just stood in the corner like, oh my God, I'm going to get this so badly wrong. We had some of the most amazing artists in the world in the same room as me, and I'm just like an icicle. I'm kind of like, I don't want to move. I don't want to say the wrong thing because it could be embarrassing like hell. What this is leading to something, I promise you. When it comes to like red carpets, things like this, are you prepared for this sort of stuff? Because, it's a lot of pressure there.
Yes, I do think I am. I mean, here's the thing, but on a resume, there's your movies, your TV shows, but at the very bottom is special talents. One of mine ought to be making it really awkward because I have an knack for doing that, and I've accepted that. So at this point, if I do kind of slip up in that regard, I'm going to do my best not to, of course, but it'll inevitably happen. I'm prepared for that.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, I know I've been trying to learn names and faces way better than I used to know.
More preparation than I had, that's for sure. But this is more highbrow than what I was doing,
Just a little bit. When you're working on like the service, when you're working in the service industry, like I was telling you before the show, Alex, I worked for a high performance auto parts outlet before I moved on to other things in my career. But I never remembered people's names. I'd always just be like, "Oh, hey, yeah, it's red 78 Camaro with the 49-inch rear end." Like I never could remember names. So if I ever had to do this, not that I ever would, because I don't look like Slade, but if I ever had to do a red carpet thing or remember the names of like cast and crew, I'd be sunk. It'd be all over, man.
Yeah, it's I need to talk to you about that as well. Actually, I've got something I'm working on as far as restaurants and we'll have a conversation there. Me and Andy haven't done this for a while. But we go way back. Okay, so we were doing research. Obviously, you're from Texas. That's where you hail from. Yeah, so moving to Orange County, away from your friends, family, I guess. What was that like for you?
Kind of a breath of fresh air. Not in a bad way. I don't mean that negatively towards my friends and family here in Texas. It's just moving to California at the age of 19. It was I am just the adventurous kind, and so I went to California with an open mind, and I really enjoyed my stay. I haven't been there very long. Originally I went there for college, and I was there for 4 weeks, and then I got cast in the film, and so I dropped out of college to come back to Texas and shoot it. And then I went back, and I was there for 5 weeks, and then COVID happened, and flew back to Texas again, and I was here until that following August, and then I flew back out I moved in with some roommates of mine who I just love to death. And I was there until May. And then I think May 25th is when I came back to visit my family for an elongated stay and do the premiere and do all the press here in Texas as necessary.
Yeah, COVID was a real son of a bitch, especially for people that were like you, that was just starting up. Because, again, we know people in the industry. We spoke to young people, older people, we producers. We've spoken to so many people, and there were so many like opportunities squandered. So many things that were meant to happen that just stopped. And that's your opportunity gone. You got to go find something else. Obviously, luckily enough, you got this out the way before COVID, and then that happened afterwards.
But
was that like that must have been painful as well, though? Really steady stop. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I didn't know. Yeah. I mean, just like all of us, we didn't know what was going on, and so I wasn't really too nervous about the movie in a way because we had done all the shooting. They did say that they wanted to come back and shoot some other things, and those things did get replaced by voiceover in the film. And so there were plans to shoot several other sequences from for like a flashback to the past for Rusty Russell, which unfortunately never happened. But during that time, it was actually kind of a good time for me to reel back a little bit and get my priorities straight. Yeah, at this time, I was worried that this was going to give me a big head, and so I think it was kind of a good moment in time. I try to find the silver lining. It's a good moment in time simply because my job is something that I need to appreciate, because it comes and goes and you never know when the next one is going to happen. And so enjoy the moment and love it. And there is a purpose to it, because I mean, how did we get through COVID? It was through entertainment. It was through, watching movies, sitting down with the family, and really, and finding new hobbies to get forward. So
Tiger King.
in a way, it was a bit blissful. That being said, I mean, it was a horrible time, and I'm not negating the negative. I'm just emphasizing the good.
Yeah, I mean, I've just watched Bo Burnham's Inside on Netflix, which is a painful watch. It's brilliant. It's artsy, but it's painful to watch because
I don't think I'm ready for it. I haven't watched it yet. It's been on my list, but I don't think I'm ready for it.
It's one of those. I mean, the thing is, right, I saw it from a content creator. I'm never going to be on the scale of Bo Burnham. I mean, even before that, he was knocking it out of the park, even with the 5-year hiatus he had, but like, as someone who had like everything thrust upon them with the Shoes Biscuit, we had got funding so we can go out to events, to festivals, and it just stopped. I was kind of like, what am I going to do? And we had to switch to Zoom and Skype and all this sort of stuff. We carried on going, but it was such a struggle. Whereas like Bo Burnham, like, and for actors all around the world, that this is their life, this is their livelihoods, and it just got taken away from them. So, Bo had this idea to lock himself in a room and make content. But when you start off with a clean slate, with a blank easel, and you kind of just like, right, go. That is probably one of the most difficult things to do in the world. I mean, when it comes to like character creation, if someone said to you right now, because like working with Alexander Westwood, who I mentioned earlier, I've heard him say a few times, I need direction. I can't just go, here's a character. Can you do that? Can someone say, right, here's a guy from Chicago. He's a low out businessman and he needs to find some money. Go. Can you just come up with a character like that, or do you need a bit of time?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I can do things on the fly for sure. Of course, preparation is always going to be better. And there are certainly characters that are better, that I can do better than others, and on the fly. But yeah, I actually have been working on improvisational skills.
Nice.
So just so that I can do that. Now, am I great at it? That's that's subjective. So,
I have
sure
the
you are.
perfect project for you to cut your teeth on. It's something that I've started working on recently. So Portland, Oregon is down to one full-time traffic officer. And I have started a screenplay, and it's called The Last Traffic Cop. I think he would be perfect for it. Can you ride a motorcycle?
Man, one whistle.
Motorcycle? Never have.
You can learn.
Well, actually, yes, I can in fact ride a motorcycle. How well I can is up for question.
We'll find someone to fill in for you. It's fine.
I've ridden a motorcycle 3 times, and every single time I fell off. So don't ask me, Andy. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry. We have a bad relationship, me and those 2 wheels of theirs. I like this idea, though, the screenplay of The Last Traffic Cop. I like that.
Well, yeah, my plan, is he's a renegade cop on the edge, and he was frozen, convicted of crimes he didn't commit. And when he's thawed, he awakes to find that Portland is still a post-apocalyptic wasteland. And now he's the only traffic cop in the city. He is the last traffic cop. And I just think it would be great to go through, just a typical scenario. It's a little Judge Dreddy, a little bit Judge Judy, and we're going to meet somewhere in the middle,
I like that. Somebody beeps at him while you're getting roadworks, lady. You're going that way. You're going to get the traffic lights. I was at a battle reenactment at the weekend. I went to the Battle of Shrewsbury, which is a very important battle. It was Harry Hotspur versus the King. He was like, "Fuck you," and the King was like, "I'm the king, I'll have you know." And they had this big battle. Anyway, I was interviewing people all weekend, and I was kind of like, "Why have we never seen a zombie apocalypse in a medieval era? They're all rocking around in armor and swords and stuff. It would just be immense." Like, Slade, we need to work on this, right? A medieval zombie apocalypse. Let's do it. Let's just make this thing.
I mean, that's basically Ash versus Evil Dead. Is that right?
Well, yeah, Tom said that. He's like, "Oh, we've done that with Evil Dead," but that was Army of Darkness sort of stuff. That was kind of, I think, a genuine oh my god,
modernize it.
Yeah.
And look at every BBC peasant character in any of those period pieces. They already look like zombies. They're ugly, dirty, no
we're
teeth.
being oppressed. We're being oppressed. What are your?
I have to ask you this, since you're in the industry now. Let's talk about your favorite movies and your favorite TV shows. I'm very curious.
Oh yes. I have a very special place in my heart for the Lord of the Rings. I am a huge fan of Peter Jackson's
I love you, Slade.
Experience. I feel like moments in time aren't bookmarked by my birthdays. They are bookmarked by when I watch Lord of the Rings. Mm-hmm. So I did this 3 movies ago, 3 rewatches ago, 4 rewatches ago. I'm a huge fan of the practical effects, and I do think it's one of the best cast films of all time. A fantastic ensemble cast. And then my favorite coming of age story, I got to give it to Jojo Rabbit. That's the movie that signed Taika Waititi as one of my favorite directors.
I love the Hunt for the Wilder People. I thought it was amazing. I love Jojo Rabbit too. I think it is his finest work, I've got to say. Mm-hmm. But Take has been on my radar for a very long time. I just love I love how he can get like, "Yo, Sam Neill, you want to just be really silly for a whole 90-minute movie?" And he's like, "Yeah, right then, mate, let's do it." That's not how he talks, by the way. But he can do anything. Taika Waititi. So yeah. I feel you on that one. I love you, Slade. I think we're definitely brethren right here.
Yes, I'm so glad we're on the same page there. That's a director I would love.
If you can, it's really hard to do this, and I think I'd struggle too. But one character out of the Lord of the Rings that you absolutely adore out of them all.
Samwise Gamgee. He's my favorite character of all time.
Nice.
He's not the main character. He's the main character's best friend. He's a guy who is ride or die. I mean, at the worst moment in their journey, he picks up his best friend and carries him to the objective when failed.
That scene when he finds the llama's bread down the stairs, and he's like, "Rrrr," and he gets back up the stairs and he goes after him. Oh, I love that scene so much.
Get him, Rudy. Get him.
Andy, what about you? And if you don't say Gimli, you're fired. But Lord of the Rings.
It's not Gimli. I'm sorry. I actually do a spot-on impression of the character that I most connect with. I smell man flesh.
Nice. And
also, that's the name of my first autobiography.
I like Aragorn. That scene where he eats stew and he's like, I love
it's so
that.
gross. My least favorite scene though is the tomato scene. It's the one thing that I think that
where he pops it.
Yeah, that probably hurt the baby tomato industry for a little while, for a couple quarters.
One of the most amazing things I saw recently, and it was at a time when things are quite difficult for me. Actually, there's lots of pressure on me at the moment. I'm building this Pod Aid charity thing that we're doing. I'll tell you about that in a sec, Slade. And there was lots of pressure on me, and I was feeling really down and lonely and stuff. And I found Ted Lasso recently on Apple TV, and it's got Jason Sudeikis in it. And it's the perfect show for USUK. I'm trying to get Tom to watch it. Everybody go and watch it. It's fantastic. It's an American coach who comes from Kansas to the UK to coach a UK Premier League football team. He knows nothing about the sport, doesn't even know the rules, and he gets just thrust upon the world of the Premier League. And it's one of the most magical, most beautiful TV series I've ever watched in my life. It's amazing. There's like this amazing scene where he goes to drink tea. He's like, nope, never going to happen. It's garbage water, terrible. I was like, whoa, it's fantastic. I love it. Talk about your favorite movies. Obviously, there's your favorite movies, and there's the ones you go to for inspiration, for work purposes. Who do you sort of? I want to say, what's the correct word? Shadow. Who's the influences for you when it comes to movies?
Yeah, I mean, I am a diehard fan of Leonardo DiCaprio and in his practice. I think he is. I mean, do I really need to say more? He's fantastic. But when it comes to both on and off screen, my number one influence is Tom Hanks. You know, he's considered the nicest guy in Hollywood, and I think that's someone who has such a presence on screen and also such a presence off screen that he can do good in both regards. That's truly something that I admire, for sure.
Mm-hmm. We were just talking about him off air, actually. Me and Andy, before he came on, Slade, we were like, we'll talk about actors. And I was talking about the pressure Luke must have been when Owen became famous. He's kind of, oh, my brother's famous, I guess I must do too. And then you brought up Tom Hanks' brother, Andy, and I was like, oh yeah, doesn't he like do all the voices for Woody when like Tom's too busy and stuff? And I was like, yeah. But yeah, it must be at odds having a very famous relative. And then there's that pressure behind you, like Casey Affleck. There's also as well as what's his name, Macaulay Culkin's brother as well. You know, it's a weird scenario, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, of course, I can't really relate to that.
No, of course.
Although I do believe comparison's the root of all evil.
Yes.
We're all on our journeys, and I don't think it's right to feel any malcontent towards somebody for their journey. I mean,
you've got to do you, haven't you? You've got to do you.
Yeah, gotta do you. You know, and what you got is family. So that at the end of the day, it's your family that sticks with you. I'm a big family guy, so
nice.
You're like the Vin Diesel of this generation, yeah.
Vin Diesel. I've heard so many bad things about Fast 9. I'll tell you.
I love that trend though. Did you say family? It's a photo of Vin Diesel.
Family.
Love it.
Family. I showed Timmy, my 6-year-old, the Iron Giant yesterday for the first time, and it was actually one of the most magical family moments watching a movie. He was like stuck in. He was like, Superman. You know. Those family moments, those family movie moments are very, very special. obviously, I've been doing my research on you today, Slade, and obviously, I've read about the Catherine Sullivan school you
Yes.
went to for many years, and then I looked at their Hall of Fame with Selena Gomez and Demi Lovato and Thomas Mann there. Talk us through that. What was a school like that like in retrospect for you as a young actor?
I mean, I adore Kathy. She's wonderful. I just actually had a class with her today. I've been with her for the last week, and I mean, first off, she's one of the strongest women I've ever met in my life. And so she has a process that works. She knows how to get people to achieve their dreams. And it is truly wonderful from an actor's perspective to watch this happen, because I have grown up in her sphere and going to her every so often, a few times a year, and I get to watch her students achieve what they desire. And so, I mean, ultimately, I'm not giving all of her the credit, because of course those kids, they worked for it. Her actors, they have to want to do it. So that's a personal drive. But she gives the tools, and that's really fun to watch, because I know several people who have gone off and worked on their first set and come back and have told me about it. We have great conversations, and it's a bookmark in their life. So it's hard though. It's hard. She works you hard, and but you come out every day just a little bit better.
Nice.
I spoke to an actor called Alan Rodriguez a few weeks ago, and we were talking about like auditions and things like this. And as a guy who's been in many TV shows, and he's been on Jessica Jones and lots of stuff. Anyway, I was saying to him about the pain behind an audition. Like, you go to 3 or 5 or 6 auditions and you don't get the role for any of them things. It's incredible. I said to him, must be incredibly, sort of painful. He's a roughy, tufty New York guy. He's like, no, it's gone. Once I get out of the room, it's gone. I don't know why I did it in a Cockney accent, but then, what is it like for you going to auditions as a young guy who's at the other side of the spectrum there?
Right. Yeah. I've never despised them. I don't despise the process. I don't despise when I'm not picked. Truthfully, I walk in and I do what I have to do. And when they say no, it could be because of anything. It doesn't necessarily have to be because of my skill or anything. It could have been that I'm too tall, or maybe I'm too short, or maybe they just envision this person might actually have better chemistry with the lead, or look proper with the lead. And so and to keep me going, I got a little bit of that actor's arrogance in a sense, to just say, their loss, right?
Yeah.
I don't actually think that, but it's just a mentality to keep me going and brush it off. So the audition process, it's when I'm in person, it is actually something I genuinely enjoy. Yeah.
Nice. And what's the pre-audition routine for you? Say like the night before, you got a big audition coming the day before. What's the routine? Do you like no alcohol, stay clean-headed, early night, or is it a case of I need to just blow off a bit of steam? What's that like for you?
It is the thing I'm the most competitive about. This is my game 7. This is my championship. Every single time I audition for something, it's time to hit the gym. It's time to go over my lines until 1, 2 a.m. It's time to try and find that one minute thing that might separate me a little bit. My routine is a bit neurotic, to be quite frank. What is great, I don't need a whole lot of sleep to run. So I might be an insomniac. So my night befores are usually just working until I'm satisfied. And I put quotations because I'm never satisfied.
I like that though. A perfectionist. You know, we've all got a like with this thing that we've done with the podcasting thing. You know, it's kind of none of us become perfect immediately. There's got to be a lot of failure. There's got to be a bit of success. You know, I've had lots of bits of success. You know, there's awards behind me right there that I've won. You know, nice things that have come from what we're doing. There's the Pod Aid thing we're working on, but I've had a lot of failure as well. I've got to know what egg. What's that?
I've got an award too.
What is it?
It says better luck next time. You tried. I keep that right here, right behind me, so everybody can see it. That's my award right there.
Well, there's the film. Do you remember the film competition that I entered a while ago? It was a 24. It was a 24-hour film it was like a thing during COVID. All right, so it was a 24-hour movie contest, and there's people that make professional adverts, people that are just novices, people who've got great cameras, and me with my phone and my imagination, right? And I've never done anything like this before, and they were like, "We need you to make a movie in 24 hours." And I was like, "Okay," and we had to wait on the 24-hour start line to get the plot, to plan it, to write it, to film it, to edit it, to release it. And I made this thing. It was quite ambitious because I was recording like Zoom calls with Tom in Vermont, blah 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 blah. I released this thing, and they actually the notes were the transitional periods between scenes weren't very good. The plot was okay, and we did not find it enjoyable. And I was kind of like, thanks guys, never made anything like that again. So you got to learn from you.
I had similar notes come back. Primarily what they said was try getting a cell phone that doesn't have a cracked camera.
There's two Alexes right there. What's next for you, Slade? Is there anything you're working on at the moment?
What's next for me at the moment? Like I said earlier in the podcast, finding a manager. That is it.
Manager, yeah.
Trying to get my bases loaded, essentially, and make sure opportunities coming along. But,
is that hard to find a manager? I don't know. Like I'm trying to understand. Like, can you just do you have to put like an ad out for a manager for Slade Monroe, or do you need to go for an agency to find one?
I've got no idea, to be completely honest with you. I've got an agent, and I do have an agent, and that I just did a performance in front of her, and she called me on the phone. We had a phone meeting, and then I went to the agency, and I'm represented by Kim Dawson Agency. My agent, her name's Deanne Vernon, and I had a sit down conversation with her for about 30, 45 minutes. And then I signed the papers for her that she was going to represent me, and we were going to be a team. And from then on, I've kind of just had her. And so I've been told so many different things about the whole manager sphere. I'm not going to act like I know anything about it, because I'm still learning. I'm still an amateur in many ways, but at the moment, I did do another performance in front of a manager for at Catherine Sullivan's acting studio. So I'm hoping that can be fruitful. And in the meantime, we'll see.
Yeah. Watch this space. It must be so frustrating though, because as a guy at the moment who's trying to build something in September. Okay, so Pod Aid I'll show you the logo of this. Pod Aid is this thing we're doing in September, a 24-hour long podcast, right? Because my skill, I don't know if Andy's the same, right? My skills come from when I'm sat in front of a microphone, right? Literally, these are literally all the notes I've written, right? Just a few lines. Mm-hmm. We just go. That's what we do. This is what I'm good at. I'm not good at like building events and getting sponsors in and building the social media side. I'm like, I just want to go. You know, it's very hard to be able to like build this universe around me before I can go. It must be frustrating when you want to go there and do this thing, but before you do that, you need a manager, and then you need this, and then you need that. You know, it must be really frustrating for a performer like you.
No, I don't really think. I actually don't think it's frustrating. Because it's all just part of the steps in the process. You know, every other great actor has done the same thing I have. So I'd say I'm a pretty patient guy when it comes to these things. But I've never had a sense of frustration in the route that I'm going. I just kind of have taken a step back and taken things as is, and just learn from the experiences. So yeah, I mean, do I want one? Absolutely. Do I want everything that that great actors go through on a daily basis? Absolutely, but I'm not there yet, and so
you're not going to rush.
I just got to work to get there.
And that's where it comes back to what we said earlier about not rushing into making silly mistakes.
Yes.
And that's what I wanted out of you. Fantastic. Andy, have you got any more questions? I know we're running short on time.
I just think it's fantastic. Slade, I really look forward to seeing this movie, and I look forward to seeing everything that you're doing in the future. Don't forget to learn how to ride a motorcycle, because you will be in my
I'll soon be surfing on them, standing on 2 feet.
That's what I'm talking
about. Right, so here are the pictures. So 12 Mighty Orphans. I mean, what's the date for release in America? Slade, have you got any dates with you?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
The date for release in America.
Release? Oh, in America, it's already out. It's it came out early or mid-June. Yeah, I think June 12th it came out, and it's still in theaters across the nation. And it opened with you can probably find it in just about any AMC or Cinemark. So I mean, here in Texas, they're all over, and I know my friends in California have gone and seen it in the LA and Orange County, Irvine area. I've had buddies in Florida that has gone and seen it, and a couple theaters have opened in New York, but it is across the nation.
Mm-hmm. Not in the UK though. America, come on, sort your lives out. I want to see this movie. I really do. We had to go and watch Space Jam 2 yesterday because there wasn't much on at the movies. So yeah, send it over our way. I think it's the 31st of August. It's released over here, so maybe we've got to wait a few more weeks. I do believe that's when it's digitally released on Amazon as well. I think that's when you can pre-order it now. I think. I can't wait to see this movie. And Slade, I'll drop you an email to say how much I loved it. When I do, can you tell our listeners where they can find you if they want to get in touch with you, or if you want a manager wants to help you out?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So my main source of social media is Instagram. My username is at Slade SLADE _ Monroe MONROE, and you can find all information regarding my agent on my IMDb. So just go on IMDb, search up my name, and at the very bottom, you'll see a direct line to my agent, my agency, and a phone number. Well,
Slade, you've been an amazing guest. Thank you so much for coming on our show. I've learned so much. It really has. We love speaking to people who make movies with their hands in front of the camera, behind the camera, and it's been an honor speaking to you. And I do wish you the best of luck with your career. And you know what? Maybe in 12 months, we can get you back on the show. We can find out what you've been up to. It'd be really nice to see. Keep in touch with you. It'd be really nice.
Of course. Yeah. 12 months from now, feel free to hit me up. I'd love to.
It's a date, an absolute date. Andy, any more comments before we let Slade go?
Slade, you're the man. Good luck to you, and keep that passion and that perseverance, brother. You're going to go far.
Oh, this bonfire is burning hot. It's not going anytime soon. But thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. What we tend to do now is we let our guests go. We slip over to the later lounge where me and Andy are going to geek out. We haven't spoken to each other properly for a while, so we're going to have a geek out. So thank you very much for joining us, Slade, and have a great day.
You too. Y'all take care.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Bye, all.
Right at the end. That's when you got a little bit of Texas accent. Right at the end.
Take care. I don't know what it is. It kind of flows in a little bit.
I was waiting. I was like, come on, man, drop me something.
Next time I'll build it up for the rest of the podcast. How about
that? All right. Thanks, man.
See you later.
See you later now. Bye. Right, let's slip on over to the later lounge. Let's do this. 3, 2, 1.
Oh wait, the music just cut off. Dang it!
Oh man, I wanted to see you grooving that thing. Oh my God, what a great guest! I mean, Slade Monroe just knocked that out the park. I mean, when I was that age, I was not that level-headed and not that sensible about things, and knew what I wanted and had that. You could see it in him that he had this dream, this goal, this thing that he was doing, and he was going there. I wish I had that direction when I was his age. I really do. So
people like Slade are very, very. They're at the same time amazing people and also kind of scary to me, because when you see a person where they have a goal and they're going to achieve that goal no matter what. They can take that energy in a lot of different directions. I mean, obviously he's going towards the light, but he's one of those people where I can just tell he's going to make it and he's not slowing down.
No, he's got that momentum. And I do wish him the best, genuinely wish him the best. And we have, but you know, I've got friends either side, the people that have been in the industry for a while, people that are just starting out, people that have had a bit of success and stepped back a bit. You know, there are so many different people, but like, when it comes to actors and people we've spoken to, I don't think I've seen anybody with that much like the way he composed himself for that whole interview. I'm very, very impressed. He's got a very promising career, and he's just such a level-headed young man. Honestly, seriously, well done, Slade. Thanks for joining us, Andy, my man, Andy, my friend, Andy.
Man. You know what? Slade might actually need to take some lessons from me. You know, because I really have that grizzled, run down, nowhere to go and nothing to lose look. So, you know, if he could use me as an example for his character in The Last Traffic Cop, I think he'd really be onto something.
I think you're onto something with this Last Traffic Cop thing. I feel like this is your neck of the woods, man. You should definitely be like, we need to do this now. We need to do this now while this is happening. Do this, please. We'll get Denzel. We'll get Denzel on board.
I'm trying to get that cop on, and I'm trying to convince him that selling his rights to the story is going to make him way more money than a cop will ever.
Netflix are just churning out any old kind of shit these days, mate. You might as well make a few bucks, like, you know.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to have a big budget. You know, listen, I've got some old cars that we can blow up. I'm sure we can rustle up some crackheads and tell them, hey, we're going to give you a loaf of bread and $5 bill, and this dude's going to kick you in the chest. Done and done.
Fuck it, let's do it. I mean, you can have me. Can I do some voiceover? I can do like radio work. You know, I've got the. Wait there. I've got shit here that I can do. Wait there. So we want a cop radio.
Get off. This is we have an incident on the corner of Churchill and 4th. We need a cop immediately. And then
we can have like where is it? Fucking about here.
There is one man, one roll, one whistle. Welcome to the Last Traffic Cop.
That's perfect. That's perfect. What I need you to do, though, is instead of doing the Boston accent when you're doing the police radio, you need to do just the most backwoods Cockney, like
Cockney,
or whatever it's called. That super thick accent that rural British people have, where you just can't understand what they're saying at all.
So you want like Sean Bean, don't you?
Oh, fucking hell, man. All of the traffic's piling up. There's nobody sorting it out there. We need help. We need backup.
That's amazing. Yes.
And in the meantime, the mayor's kind of like, I'm sorry, man, we got no backup. He's like,
what do you mean there's no backup? I'm here on myself. I've got a wall. I've got a whistle. And I don't even have a fucking radio. I don't even know why I sound like this right now.
The problem is I was watching Clarkson's Farm. I don't know if you're a Jeremy Clarkson fan, but have you watched Clarkson's Farm yet?
People are going on about it, and that it's becoming a bit of a craze. I've seen people that have actually been to the farm. You could actually go there, but like since the whole so when they left Top Gear, they made that other show on Amazon, right?
Right.
And it was dog awful. It was just terrible. I couldn't watch it.
You didn't like the Grand Tour?
No, because it was too fake. Like there was like, so Top Gear was like, there was a moment when I absolutely adored Top Gear. We would never miss it. And I'm at that stage now with Alec McGuinness, Paddy McGuinness. You know, with the new crew. I think they're fantastic. They're great at doing what they do. But like with Jeremy Clarkson, Richard Hammond, and fucking James May, there was that time when they were brilliant, and then it kind of got a bit fake, and very samey, kind of like. And I'm a bit put off by Jeremy Clarkson now because of that. Do you know what I mean? So, What's your spin on it then? Do you enjoy it?
I enjoyed it. I did. I mean, there's certain things where you're looking at it and you're thinking, yeah, that's a fake setup thing, whatever. But then there's a lot of stuff that you can't fake. I mean, the birthing of the lambs, on his farm, and the fields drying up, and how much yield they get out of the fields, and all that. Like, you can't really fake any of that stuff. And so I do think he puts himself in situations where it's obvious that it's like a play, it's a bit, you know, but then the ramifications of that bit are very real, and they leave those in. And I do find that fascinating. But probably my favorite character in the whole show is this fellow named Gerald. You cannot understand what Gerald's saying. I mean, maybe you could, but me and Jeremy Clarkson, there's no, like, the camera comes on to him and he's like, "Hello, Gerald, how are you?" And Gerald turns around and he's like, "Well, I told you what didn't know what now came around the bend, and then that bird in the car, you know what I mean?" And Jeremy Clarkson's just standing there like, yep.
That's that reminds me of when I first started going to Ireland. My dad lives in Ireland, like right down south Ireland, and yeah, it's really funny. When he first moved over there, he lived in this farmhouse in Dingle Bay. It's near Tralee. It's on the southwest corner of Ireland, and he lived on this farm. And there was the farm, obviously, and I was there for like 2 weeks, and we didn't have much to do, so I'd stand on the fence and watch him do the sheep, and he's like, you want to come help me? And I go, grab the sheep out, and go out into the situation. And I'd be like, okay. But the thing is, right, I started talking to this geezer, and I'm like, yeah, so I'm living here, I'm there, I'm coming to see my dad, and he's like, slow down, man, when you're talking to me. And I'm like, what? He's like, slow down when you're talking to me. You're talking too quick. I was like, I'm talking too quick. Are you fucking serious? And now he lives in Bantry Bay, where they're a bit more soft-spoken now. When they're talking, they're a little bit... It's very nice, very soft. Right. But like, yeah. Have you ever had the situation, by the way, where someone said to you something, and you've gone, sorry, excuse me? And they've said it again, and then you're too proud, or you don't want to get embarrassed by saying, say that one more time for me. Like, you just have to take it. Yeah, okay, cool. It's the worst, right?
I've done that many times. That's why I keep a spare pair of earplugs on me. I try to keep them in my pocket, and then I'll try to fake them out. You know, like if I just can't understand what they're saying, I'll pretend to pull them out of my ears and be like, "Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah,
my bad."
Yeah.
No, but I remember my wife does this to me constantly. I'll be in the kitchen, right? And she'll be like, "Hey, hon," and I'll be running the mixer or something. And then she'll come out and she'll be like, "Why didn't you do the thing I was talking about?" And I'm like, I yelled back at you. Wait until I'm done. I can't hear you. It's just, it's like a part of life. And the older you get, the more it seems to happen, where I just stand there and I go, "Huh? What are you saying?" Or here's my favorite, Alex. I know you've done this before. Somebody says something, you're not getting it, and you go, "Huh?" And then right as they're starting to repeat themselves, they don't even have a chance to repeat themselves. And all of a sudden it clicks. It's like it took your brain a second to catch up to what they were saying. And you're like, "Oh, no. Sorry. I get what you're saying." Is this guy a fucking stoner? What is his problem?
It takes 5 seconds to catch up. Yeah. It happened. Something similar happened today. I've had 2 days away from doing stuff because I had a very intense weekend, two festivals, lots of editing, lots of like trying to find sponsors for Pod Aid and stuff. You know, it's been very hard going. I've had my 2 kids one at a time as well. So I wanted 2 days just to do fuck all. Right, fuck all. I mean, apart from the fact I turned up at the prison today expecting there to be prison break, and there was none. I got the wrong date, which is my fault. Anyway, so I'm playing on Horizon Zero Dawn on the PlayStation. I don't get much time for the console stuff. I don't do much gaming, but I'm like, no, I've only got this game till September, and then they take it off again. I'm going to sit and play it. And she's going, hey, do you want the chicken with salad, or do you want some stuffed peppers and some coleslaw? And I went, yeah. And she went, what? I was like, I mean, yeah, why don't we do both? A little bit of both. And she's like, oh, okay, a quick save there, you know.
Yeah. Have you ever worked in retail?
Yes.
All right. So when I worked in retail, I don't even know exactly. This is going to age me a bit. So I'm 38 years old. And as nuts as this is going to sound, I was working in retail. I was actually working at a Home Depot when debit cards first became popular, if that makes any sense to you. Like, obviously they were popular and they were used and they've been used for a long time, but we were still in that area where old people couldn't figure out how to use the
swipe and sign thing.
Yes, exactly. Or swipe and PIN number. And I remember they would harangue us every single day about getting more customers through. You got to be faster. You got to be quicker. And there was something about my face that I feel like attracted the elderly people. And so we'd walk up and they'd go, here's my card. And they'd hand it to me. And I'd say, oh, you know what? We got a card reader right here. You just slide it here. What? Here, you take your card and you swipe it through right here. What? Then they'd take it and the numbers would be on the outside and they'd swipe it. And I'd go, no, sorry, it's got to be turned around. What? They'd turn it around, they'd run it, and then it would ask them for their PIN number, and then they'd grab a pen to write on the pad. And I'm like, no, it's asking you for your PIN number. Oh, I don't know my PIN number. And it was that over and over and over. That losing that job was the best thing that ever could happen to me, because I was losing my faith in humanity so fucking quick, you don't even understand. But it was seriously 3 times a day. Swipe the card, nothing happens. What?
When I was 18, I remember I got a job at KFC. Well, I was 18. Fuck it. I mean, who doesn't do jobs like that? And I lasted 3 months. I lasted 3 months. And Saturday nights were always the heaving of all nights. It was like the fucking if you got a Saturday night shift, you're like, fuck, how have I landed this? I'll pull the short straw. And the queue would always be around the restaurant, right? And it'd be like mayhem. And I was at the front, and I was doing the till. So I would select what people want, get them the tray, and as it would come, I'd put it on the tray, give it to them, right? So, and there'd always be every third customer, like, they've forgotten this, and they've forgotten that, and they haven't got this. And then every week there was this one woman, and she was like the first ever Karen I dealt with, right? Super Karen. And she would find the most there was a family of 5 of us, and you gave us 4 sachets of salt. How the fuck dare you? Like, she could kick off, every single time. And I remember I think it was like 12 weeks in, and she came up to me and she was like, hey, and I was like, no, slammed my hat down. I was like, fuck you. I went, fuck you. I quit. And I walked straight out. I was like, I'm not having it. I'm sorry. I can't take that shit. So then I went and did, I got a job on security, and I did security and door work for like 10 years after that, where I was on the other side, where I could tell customers, fuck you, to their face. It was great. I loved it.
Fuck out of here. Yeah, I had my hat throw down moment when I was working for an undisclosed auto parts store. And there was this junkie that had walked in, and this is in Portland. And we're talking, this is 12 years ago, 13 years ago. So it was bad in Portland even back then. And this junkie walks in, he's got a paper bag, and he's like, oh, bro, I gotta fucking use your bathroom, please. And I'm like, no, man, there's no bathrooms in here. Sorry. And then I turned around to do something, hoping that he would just walk away. One of the other dumbasses that they hired, dude walks over and he's like, oh, please, bro, I gotta use your bathroom. And he's like, oh yeah, man, no problem, it's right back here.
Oh,
of course, no. I was trying to grab him before he went into the bathroom, and I was like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Well, he just said he had to use the bathroom. I'm like, he's gonna go fucking shoot up in there, man. What are you doing? The heroin epidemic was really starting to hit around that time, and I mean, the dude was in there forever. And finally we're pounding on the door and, screaming, all right, the cops are on the way. You got to get out of there right now. And he comes running out, naked from the waist down with his pants in his hand and runs out. There's the spoon and the lighter and the needle in the bathroom. There's also blood and feces all over the bathroom. I mean, all over the bathroom. Like, it looked like he was just taking handfuls and slapping it against the wall and smearing it onto everything. And the plumbing had been completely taken apart underneath the sink. And I'm just like, dude, okay, now you get to clean this up. Congratulations. And I had been having a little bit of a thing with the manager there. I wasn't really getting along with them. And this other person went and complained about me, yelling at them, telling them, you're a dumbass for letting this drug dealer or drug addict in here. So the manager walks over and they're like, yeah, he's about to go on his lunch, so you're going to have to take care of this. And I said, there's absolutely no way. There's absolutely no way I'm doing that. And she said, well, if you don't do it, you're fired. And I said, too late, bitch, I'm out.
It feels good though, doesn't it? It does feel good.
It does. Well, I was married, and so it probably wasn't the best feeling for my wife. But also, we were getting ready. I was getting ready to go back to college, start working on that engineering degree that's really paid off for me ever since I got hit by a drunk driver. But I was coming down to the end of when I was going to be employed there, anyways, and so I just cut out a little bit early. And actually, my wife is standing right here, honey. That druggie that broke into the bathroom at I can't say the auto parts store, but the auto parts store. And they told me that I had to clean it up. And I said, nope. And I walked out. You remember that?
Yeah, that was a fun day.
Mm-hmm.
Babe, you never guess what happened today in work. What happened in work? Just imagine,
a drug addict smeared blood and shit all over the bathroom, and I quit.
I almost have a better story. Do you remember when they broke up that drug house about 2 miles down the road from my clinic? And the guy evaded the police and got out the back door, came into our clinic, went into the basement, into the bathroom, locked himself in there, and proceeded to try and remove the paraphernalia stored inside his body.
Yes.
And there was various fluids, some foamy, some bloody, some whatever. And there was fluids around everywhere.
Again,
and I'm not done with my story. And then, so the massage therapist would keep his razor there. So he'd get early and shave. So the druggie used his razor to shave his head and other parts. And various other things. So we had to have hazmat come in and clean the bathroom up. The computer repair guy was there. We couldn't get him out of the bathroom. It's just two female massage therapists, myself, and a female receptionist. So the computer repair guy was a retired Navy SEAL that had just gotten back from Afghanistan and finished his tour. And it was like, I'm done. I'm going to just, return to civilian life. So he broke the door down, grabbed the guy by the neck, and threw him out in the street. Big old black Navy SEAL, pissed off. Yeah, wow. It was insane. And then the cops show up later, fit the description of a perp that had evaded them during when they broke up the meth house. It was insane. And I was like, this is why I have guns at work and in my purse. Because people suck.
Well, thank you, hun, for that insight. Alex,
thanks, hon.
Letting your listeners know that everything I say bad about Portland is true. It's been happening for a long time. Thanks, sugar.
Wow. I remember while we're on the subject of interesting stories and work, there was this one. So I used to catch shoplifters. That was my job, right? We'd have to watch on the cameras for things going in bags, and we'd have to excuse me, sorry, I have to take you back into the store. And I remember I watched this mother and son carry this one thing, not put it through the checkout, and it was on their persons still. Right, so I didn't see them drop it, and so we stopped them. We pulled them back in, and this woman went fucking nuts. She was like, "Where is it? Where's the fucking thing? You checked my bags. It's not my bags." She started getting naked, She was like, check my bra. She took a bra off, and I was like, she was going absolutely fucking skits. My wife will attest to this. I was white as a ghost. I was like, oh my God, I fucking believe I caused all this shit. We had to let her go because she was going absolutely nuts. We couldn't find it on her. I went back and looked at the footage, and she literally dropped it behind her back into her son's bag. Like, it was that quick, bam, and he had a bag open behind her, and we got it. We got the concealment afterwards, but she was like fucking taking her clothes off. That's fucked me over for months afterwards. I lost all confidence in my job and everything. But yeah, that was just a one of those like I don't want to do this anymore, like kind of situations. But like, I'm happy.
She's going ballistic because that's what works. That's the hard part, is knowing. Oh, this is a tactic, and now I know that people are going to use this tactic because it works. It worked on you, right?
Oh yeah, of course it does. She literally ripped her tits out in front of me. I was like, "Fuck, okay," and this is where I'm happy.
There's not enough dignity left in a person like that to think, no, I'm not gonna yank my clothes off. Like, imagine you were in a store and you just stolen something, and you were so desperate to get away with your stolen item. You were like, what? You want to check under my sack? And just yanked your pants down and like, spread eagle and showed him your chode. And you're like, go ahead and search me, bitch.
Yeah.
Imagine having that little
shock and awe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is, right, to get me as a person, I'm Samuel L. Jackson in 187. The girl gets naked. I put the blanket on top of her. I'm not one of these like, ooh, boobies. I'm kind of like, oh my God, seriously, please just don't do that. Like, I'm genuinely like that. Like, I used to get ribbed all the time by my mates, all like, fucking, like, because they'd be like, hey, look at the ass and that. And I'd be like, oh, come on, guys. Like, and they'd be like, bitch. And I'd be like, what? Like, I'm not that kind of guy. I don't know if you get that fucking vibe off me, listeners, but I'm really not that kind of guy. But yeah, I'm very happy to be doing what I'm doing now. Andy, how many cars do you own? You said you got loads of cars to blow up. How many cars do you actually own?
Oh, it's not about how many cars I own. It's about how many friends I have and people I know that just have cars like rotting away. They're project cars that'll never get worked on, or they have neighbors that are hoarders, and the neighbor dies, and the family's like, what are we gonna do with all these cars? None of them run. That's where, have you ever watched like monster trucks or, motorcycle trials where they have old cars that they put up?
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Use them as obstacles. That's basically, and especially since I live in a small town, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of people, believe it or not, this is going to sound nuts, but well, maybe not nuts to you. I even have some close friends that do this. They won't go out and buy a $10,000 or $15,000 car. They will buy a $1,000 car and they'll drive it until it breaks, which is typically 3 to 6 months. And then they'll go out and buy another $1,000 car. And it's
they'll leave the other one on the lawn.
Yes. And it's just over and over and over. And according to them, they can't afford to get a new car. But then when you sit back and you add it up and like, I have a close friend where I sat him down and talked to him here a while back. I was like, man, the last 3 years, I think you've had 7 rigs. And let's pretend you spent $7,000 on all of those rigs because they were $1,000 a piece over 3 years. That's a car payment.
Yeah, of course. I've had the same car for it'll be 4 years when the payments are up. But it's my second. That was my second car. I started driving when I was 30 years old, guys. I was a late one, and I learned an automatic because I was moving to Shrewsbury. My job is in Telford, which is 20 miles. I needed to fucking drive. I'm not getting the bus to work for 20 miles. Fuck off, so I had to pass within 10 months, which is quick. Mm-hmm. Over here, I do regret it now because I can't just buy any car. It's got to be an automatic, which in the UK is the majority of cars are stick over here. Manual. So I do feel bad for that, but at the same time, I can't wait for my third car and it to be something nice because I got this C3 Grand Picasso, which is. It's a slug spaceship, like that's what I call it. It's my slug spaceship. It's like and it's like massive thing that I'm driving around in. It's nice. It's got the cruise control. It's got the aircon. It's got a fridge. There's a fridge in my car,
Mm-hmm. But I want some little RV.
Yeah, it's quite cool, man. I've just sold an old tent that I had in there, big fucking 6 people tent. Like literally at the weekend, I had that tent, 2 tables, 4 chairs, a marquee, water butts in the back of behind my seats for the marquee to weigh it down. I had my banners, everything, every single thing, my microphones, every single thing that I needed to go and do events, plus a tent if I needed it, you know. Whereas if I had a Mini Cooper or something like that, or you know, some shitty Beamer with a fucking hatchback, I couldn't really do that. Do you know what I mean? So I kind of like it, like in that regards. But I want something like where people are like, oh yeah, look at what Whiteley's got. You know, I don't necessarily want a Beamer or an Audi or anything like that, but just something nice. I'm quite sensible when it comes to cars. I like a Volvo V70. You know, something that's like nice and decent, and will get me A to B nicely. Do you know what I mean? Whereas you're kind of more like, right?
There is that, but it's a little bit of a combination. I mean, like the V70, I love a good estate wagon. I think the V70R is a very underrated performance vehicle, and it's a fucking wagon. It's an estate, so you can pack it full of all your gear. You can throw the kids and your wife in there. You guys can be comfortable cruising down the road. Like, there's nothing wrong with that.
By the way, I would like the modern equivalent of a V70. I wouldn't like the fucking 1990s fucking Lada looking like a fucking thing. But
how dare you, sir? How dare you disparage the turbo bricks?
Turbo bricks. That thing was a beast, though. The Volvo S40. Do you remember that was a fucking touring car? That was like one of the beasts that they would take around the fucking British motorsport racing and stuff. That was a beast. Yeah, so that's about as much as I can. This is the thing, right? Because you got the Horsepower Hour, this amazing show that you got where you do talk about cars. It's like your own little version of Top Gear, I imagine. And like I've sat and I've watched, and I just zone out because I'm not a very carsy person. So if I ever came on your show, I'd be like, yeah, I've got an automatic Citroen, yeah, it's a piece of shit.
Oh, when you come on the show, it's not going to be the regular Horsepower Hour. It's going to be the Horsepower Hour, and then I'm going to have a sexy woman voice after hours. And then we'll just kind of do our thing where you drink and Tom gets stoned and, we just talk. It'll be something like that. The car scene, you gotta really know. I mean, I hate to say this, and I'm trying to get better about it. I try to include enough stuff in the Horsepower Hour where people, if you don't know that much about cars, you can still kind of follow along. If you don't know anything about cars, I admit you are going to have a hard time. I will admit that. But we try to include enough stuff where you can have fun with it and kind of look. And because here's the thing about Car Guys, Alex, we will sit for hours on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or whatever your equivalent of Craigslist is over in Shrewsbury, Hartford.
We have Spock. So Facebook.
Sure, Facebook Marketplace. We will just sit and we will just scroll, looking at cars that we can't afford, or we would never buy, and just hours. And I don't know why, but it's a thing that all car guys do. Do you ever do that? Like, do you ever just type in microphone and then just go down a rabbit hole of what's available?
Yeah, all the time. I did it earlier. I'm looking for a nice, sexy chair. Because this one is not. This is this really hard plastic chair. I'd like a nice, like proper. I was looking at gaming chairs because I thought they'd be quite nice. Just to be like upright and be like, yeah, welcome to USUK or the Shrewsbury Biscuit. And I'm just like, set up. I like a chair like Jean-Luc Picard and Next Generation, just kind of just slouching a little bit. Like, this chair's not great for my ass with these very heavy set beige shorts during the hot summer months. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, here's the Horsepower Hour, guys. If you're not acquainted to Andy's show, it's here. Horsepower Hour. The Horsepower Hour is your one-stop shop for all things automotive. Every Tuesday at 3 p.m. PST, THPH. The Horsepower Hour has got the style to keep you coming back for more and the power to put you on the edge of your seat.
That's what I'm talking about, baby.
It's all about those reps, baby. But to be fair, regardless of whether I drive an automatic or not, I went from a Peugeot 206 Sports Edition to a very big, wobbly fucking people carrier, and I don't half miss my Pug. I love that car so much. It's stuck to the road. I could come scream around corners, beat any fucker at the lights. You try. There's this sports button. I'd press it, and the lights in the interior would go darker red. It's just to say you're fucking. It was amazing. I missed it so much, but the cam belt was about to go and stuff, so it was getting old, and I kind of like, I can't afford a cam belt. Let's get a car and finance. So that's what I did. Well,
yeah. You got to do that. You got to sell it while you can. And I never encourage people to sell something that's broken as being not broken. But boy, it is important. You're proving it right now, Alex. It is important for you to have some car knowledge and look the car over when you're trying to buy a brand new vehicle, or not a new vehicle, but something new to you. One time I was looking.
It's going to last you 4 or 5 years on finance or something. You got to know what ticks, and that's why I'm lucky with Shane on the over at the Shrewsbury Biscuit. And you guys are used to call no Shane Hinton. He's a qualified mechanic, so I'll take him, and he'll be like, "Oh no, there's an octopus in this engine. Don't buy it." So he very much helped me, and in fact, he won't touch my.
Well, you said there's an octopus in the engine, and I know why you're saying that. It's because when he looks at you and he goes, "Hey, man, the coolant is clear and it shouldn't be." So they clearly have just put water in it. Also, it's overfilled. So clearly they have had to top it off because this thing loses coolant. All you heard is there's a squid in my block.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In fact, there was a problem with my car. My car, like Citroens, if you know your cars, Andy, which you do, Citroens are the most overcomplicated cars in the history of cars, right? Like literally to change a wing mirror, he had to take the whole door panel off, and literally like the wires had to go for holes that was so small. He had to try and feed it through and then catch it and pull it through. It was ridiculous. And then there was another issue with my car. It was there's this like kidney thing underneath my car with some injection juice shit that goes in for my car. I thought it was that, so we had to go and buy that for like 75 quid. We replaced that, still wouldn't work. And he was like, all right, let's have a look at the battery. He opened up my bonnet, and on top of my battery is all these electronics. Usually the battery's not the first thing you see when you open up a car, but it's literally, it looks like a fucking Borg ship out of Star Trek. He had to take all this shit off to get to the battery. He's like, I am never touching your car again. So if my car breaks down, I'm fucked. Like, I'm literally having to pay Citroen to take my car apart. So the sooner I can get rid of it, the better.
Oh my goodness, that's scary, bro.
It's honestly, to change my battery, I would have to go to a qualified mechanic to take shit apart to get to it. It's insane. I've changed the battery before. My Pug was sat for a while. No, it was the Clio. I had to learn to drive out of Renault Clio, and I had to change the battery in that. And my he's passed away now. My stepfather-in-law showed me, and he's like, "This is how you do it." And I was like, "Oh, great!" Not with a Citroen. Fucking
yeah. All that stuff that goes over the engines now. That's just a big "do not touch" sign from the manufacturers.
Yeah,
they don't want you to do anything with it.
Never buying a French car again. I mean, the Pug was great, but at the same time, you could fix that thing with fucking masking tape. That'll do. There you go. Off you go. So yeah,
you never know when your Citroen's going to be on the freeway and then go, "We surrender."
Stop. Yeah. More wine. No. We can't do that. It's illegal. More wine. No. Back on the road. Andy, tell people why they should listen to your show and what else you got coming up.
Well, man, we just have a really good time over on the Horsepower Hour. If any of your listeners are even remotely interested in cars, we do a good mix of comedy, good mix of information, and a good mix of just learning and growing together. We really encourage people to reach out to us and interact with us. I personally have helped a couple of our listeners diagnose their vehicles through sound clips they sent me and just, basic series of questions. I was a certified mechanic. My co-host Coy, he has been a longtime grassroots racer, and so we really meld well, we gel well, we have a lot of information, a lot of knowledge rolling around in these wet noodles of ours. So I encourage anyone who has an interest or a passion for anything automotive to come and check it out. It's the Horsepower Hour at the Horsepower Hour on all social media, so Facebook, Instagram, that sort of thing. We have a Horsepower Hour group, and if people want to come and check out some really funny car memes and some great memes that Alex posts over there, by the way, which we appreciate.
Oh yeah. I know a good meme from a bad meme.
Oh yeah. It's just groups / the Horsepower Hour. So come and check that out. And Alex, I love you, man. Thanks for having me on.
It's been amazing. You honestly, thank you. I messaged you today, and you're like, "Yeah, cool, I'm free. Let's do this." And Slade was, of course, an amazing guest. And what I need to do is tell you guys about stuff that's going on in the USUK universe. Of course, we have this show, which is What's the Difference podcast with me and usually Tom Bruno, and we speak about the subtle differences between US and UK culture. It was very nice today to speak to Slade about how a young actor in America is going about his trade. So that was very nice today, and that's the kind of things we like to talk about. Next week, we may see our interview with Carol Baskin, which was it was a nice interview actually, because Carol Baskin, of course, is one of the most controversial ladies in America, from one of the most controversial documentaries of all time. But we talked a lot about conservation and zoos, and you know, it was actually quite good. We challenged ourselves to talk about the documentary as little as possible, and talk about Carol's work and what they do, and you know, because I feel like some people question me as whether we should have done this interview or not, and you know, there's huge repercussions because of it. And I was thinking, if you could speak to anybody like Carol Baskin in the world, as a podcaster, as an interviewer, as somebody who has become a professional in what we do, you would take it. And then what you would do is you would show the world that you are good at what you do. And that's what we did. So please listen to that episode if you haven't already. So that's that interview with Carol Baskin. We also have Yelling at Clouds, which is an amazing podcast brought to you from the world of Eric Fluger. He is an amazing artist, amazing friend of the show, and he is here to drop some arts facts on you guys. And this is what it is. Every episode is I'll say like a lecture. I don't like that. It's a lesson for you guys. This one's called Jumping for Joyce, and it's about the author James Joyce, who basically he defined the words for art, the different types of art, and what art does to you, and the words for it. Eric is better explaining this shit for me. It's amazing.
I had to listen to that episode because I thought he was actually the father of differentiating farts. And so imagine how red in the face I was when I listened to the podcast. I was glad that I, found out. It was good. It was very educational. And even if you're not British, even if you're American, there's stuff in there that you can learn.
He's fantastic, and he is the smartest guy I know. And if you know Eric Fluger, if you know Hollywood Babylon, and you know Kevin Smith's work and stuff, you'll know who Eric Fluger is, because he makes the amazing artwork. He drew that picture himself. And of course, we are looking for new podcasters to join us on our network. We want someone to. If you want to start up a new podcast and you want to join us as the network, part of the network, please get in touch, because we want to hear from you. We want 2 new podcasters. We'd like a British podcast. We'd like an American podcast. We'd like them to join us, and we would like to give you the tools, the social media possibilities, and be part of our network. Sorry, I've got a bit of gas. I'm trying to get through this. So you can get in touch with us via our website, which is usuknetwork.com, which is powered by our friends at Web Orchard. We are looking for new podcast stars. We have had Jamie Westwood and Tom Stevens take Chronicles. They've flown the nest. They're doing their own thing right now, and that's because of what they have learned from USUK. It was the right time for them. They wanted to. We want to do this away from USUK now, and we will support them in any way. Also, coming up on the 29th of September. Sorry, Andy, this is taking a while. On the 29th of September at 9 a.m., we start a live show called Pod Aid. We're going to carry on for 24 hours. We're not going to stop till 9 a.m. on the 30th of September, which is International Podcast Day. We have our main sponsors in Reach, who are doing our marketing, they're doing our logos, they're working out a strategy for us. We have our venue, thanks to Shrewsbury Town, the community. That's my kid Alfie. We have this amazing room that they're going to Reach, are going to transform into what the Pod Aid is going to be, and we're doing this to raise money for the local charity Lingen Davis. It's a cancer fund here in Shrewsbury, Shropshire, and across actually parts of the UK. They do a great job in making sure people have what they need throughout the terrible ordeal of cancer. And the reason we're doing this is to encourage content creators around the world to do something positive in their community. If you've got a podcast, if you've got an OnlyFans, if you've got a game stream, whatever you're doing, if you've got a vlog, a blog, whatever you're doing, if you can do something positive in your community, next year we're going to challenge you to do better than what we did. So that's what Pod Aid is all about. Andy, you have been an amazing guest co-host. Thank you so much for tonight. Honestly, I've really enjoyed having you about.
Thank you, my friend. I'm always happy to do it because you guys are doing real good work here. If you have a brand new podcast you're trying to put together, reach out to these guys because you're essentially getting a master class in podcasting for very, very little, much cheaper than some of those other fly-by-night podcasters and podcast master classes. I'm not going to name names, Alex, but I know you will know exactly who I'm talking about. There's a person who reached out to us last year asking a lot of questions about podcasting, and we were more than happy to give them as much information as they needed. And they now have a masterclass they're trying to pass off on people. Don't pay for stuff like that. Come over onto this network, check it out, get yourself a lesson in doing podcasts right, and join a really good and valuable network of folks.
Oh, thank you, Andy. I really do appreciate your endorsement. I really do. There's no charge, by the way. We're not like asking people for money or anything. Just come and join us. Just put your content on our channel. That's what we want. And Slade as well. Thank you so much for joining us for our podcast. Right. This has been What's the Difference podcast. I've been Alex Whiteley.
And I'm Andy Imhof.
Hey, perfect. And we'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.
Hi, this is Ickis from RL Monsters. And I would like very much to ask you, if you don't mind, to watch the USUK Network with Tom, Bruno, and Alex Whiteley. Oh, that's all. I have to go flush myself now.